Alright, we're back. So I got the piston crank apart, whatever, off the flywheel. So now we got the piston where we can actually mock it up correctly. We know this stuff works good, so we'll keep it as a unit. So we'll take this here. I'm going to mock it up over here and see what happens. Okay, so it appears this piston is going to clear at bottom dead center. It'll be close though, because I think these are going to hit the flywheel. They're just about, they're probably going to have about 50 thou clearance at most. But that's clearing. That's all that matters. Okay. So there's a chingus out over here. So I see the piston on there. So you got this long skirt that does not fit into the flywheel half here very well. It hits on it. So we only got a clearance for what that is. So if you look at the crank straight this way, you have a little bit jiggle in here, see? So that gives you a little clearance. That's how much you got, that little bit right there. Remember, it's supposed to have one on this side too, so. Okay, so this is the set that came with a bike, but I have other pistons here. This is just the one that was close. Okay, I got a new set right here that I picked up a while ago. These are flat top, they're for Evo. So, let's see if these match up. Wrist pin. Jeez. This piston's like an ice cube. There we go. So let's see how this works. Okay, now this one here, I have a lot more clearance on this one. See, look at the clearance I got on that one. We got a lot of clearance. I got a 1/4 inch almost over there. Lots of clearance. This is cut off for piston to piston, so we're fine on that side. Alright, so this piston we have no problem. It's got lots and lots and lots of clearance. I can probably even run those stupid Sportster rods that are shorter in here too if I wanted to. Except I don't want to do that. Okay, so we know this length piston will work. Now I got to see what's going to work in my cylinder when I put it together. Because this cylinder is shorter than the stock length right now, so I don't know what it needs. I don't know if it needs this compression height or this compression height. These are two different height pistons here. I would imagine they're different. I didn't actually check that to make sure that's true. I'm just guessing that is. So the way you tell that is you put a wrist pin through the hole. Like this. You look at the compression height. Well, I was wrong about that. This one's just a tick lower than this one is. About 25, 30 thou different. See a little bit of a lip there. I don't know if you see it on the camera. This one else just has a high dome, obviously, but that's alright. Alright, so looks like they're about the same piston overall. So more mock-up stuff. So there we go. Now we know. I know those large diameter flywheels over there are going to work. Because usually you got to cut the diameter down, but being an 80-inch crank, you don't have to cut the piston, cut the flywheel down for the piston because it's not going to hit it. Alright, so there's more junk we don't need for this minute. Now what I need to do now is just figure out how much offset I'm going to run on this crank. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the crank apart, because I got to get this bearing off, and I need to put about a 7/16 spacer between this backside of this bearing and where this one sits to center the thing up. To be according to Andrew's book over there, according to them guys, that's where we're supposed to be at. Oh, drop stuff. Like I said, according to their main shaft length inside the book, that's what the difference is. That'll put me back in the stock location for the motor. Alright, so I'm going to take the crank apart, pull this shaft out, slide this up, and then put it all back together so I can lock it up again. Might have to make up something too, I'm not sure. Well, we'll be back, so more fun. Okay, I got the crank apart. That didn't take squat, about 5 minutes max. So crank's apart, bearings off. Now I got to figure out how I'm going to do is space this thing out 7/16 of an inch, which I think is the number I need. So how am I going to do that quickly without having to make a bunch of junk? So, oh, I got spacers right here for crankshafts, or for bearings. Yeah, they should fit right in there, right? We'll just go in here and grab some of these big ones that I never use, these 13, 14s, and 15s. And we'll just grab some of these, see how much we need. So we just stack these things up on the crankshaft, and there you go. Should have what we need. So I can just figure out how much I need, and that would be in the book over here again. It's 4 something. That's Sportster. 485. Just under ½ inch. So now I don't think I'll be able to run all that mount because I think it's going to hit on the case if I put that much in there. Because right now I think that bearing is offset further over there in the crankshaft, in the case. I don't think it's where it belongs over there. So I think it's giving me it'll be a false number. Just 343. Put 4 of those together. 450, 460. That's close enough for a mock-up. And look at that. They actually fit the crankshaft with a nice precision fit. All you do is stagger the locks. They're not all in one spot. Like that. We push the bearing back together onto the crank here, and we will have what we want. I'll have to do another mock-up and see if the crank's too wide to go in the case. It probably will be. I'm not sure. So either way, that's 400 and something, 60 thousandths. It's a good number to go with for now. Okay, so we'll go ahead and put the crank back together, true it, press it back into the case, and then we'll do another mock-up and see where we're at. Because we have to have something to go by. Right now we don't know what it is. Alright, we'll be back in a few minutes. Alright, I'm working to sweat all this work. Okay, so I got my spacer in there, bearings in. So I'm going to do a quick mock-up, a dry mock-up. I'm just going to lay it into the case here and lay the right case on top of it and see if it hits. If it hits, I'm in too far. If it doesn't hit, we're good. Instead of putting it all back together again, press a bar. It's quicker. Okay, so we need this over here. Obviously we're going to be way the hell off right now, but that's okay. Okay, that's where it hits. Okay, So it looks like we're almost bottomed out with a 1/2 inch in there. So I moved over quite a bit more than I thought it was going to move. Of course, we don't have it exactly pulled in flush and tight like it would be if I actually installed it correctly. It's hard to feel where it's going to sit right now. Things aren't quite in there like they should be, obviously. So my guess is I'm one spacer too many in there, would be my guess. So we're going to pull out one of those spacers, see where that puts me at. Now hopefully I can just pull this off real quickly. There's some stuff we got laying around here. That should be this thing right here. How the hell did that get bent? I must have just bent those, I didn't know I did. Didn't realize I bent them. Oh well. We'll put them back on here, bend them some more. Alright. Should we just use this here, I hope. Yep. Perfect. Hey, don't pull the damn trigger while you hold on to it. It hurts when you do that. There we go, we made it. That saved a lot of time. There. Must straighten these. Put that on my to-do list. Something I need to do. Okay, pull out one. That'll get me close. Okay, gotta put it back in the crank over here stand. Crank her down again. Bearing. You need one of these too. Ah. Okay. I've got confidence. Whew. Definitely tiring. Okay. Whew. There we go. So we have a gap of right at 300. Okay, maybe the other side. Yeah, maybe 310. So that means we need 350 thou, or at least 330 in there. Okay. Everybody's wondering, what the hell are you doing? My answer to that is, I don't know what I'm doing. That's why I'm doing it. Even worse. There, that's closer. Three. Yeah, probably good 320 at least. Okay. Cylinder. Yeah, I found me a cylinder. Okay, here's what we're doing. We're going to find out how big this one is. And zero it, like I just did over here. Zero, see? Now you go over this big ass thing over here, you go like that. And we see how much bigger this cylinder is than the other one. See that 320 number? Bingo! So what that allows me to do is, it allows me to take this cylinder right here and bolt it right on into this case. And right now I won't be cutting anything off the sides at all. But I want to have a little bit of cutting. Now right now this bearing is sticking way too far through here. And we're sticking too much through here. So we need to get this crank to go that way quite a bit. Going off of what we have for bearing right now, which is wrong, obviously. So that way the crank will more center up in the case. I'm not expecting this to be centered in the case at all, but we'll get it close. So right now I need to go take out some more of those washers to get me where I want to be here. So ideally I want to just skim both the inside surfaces here to cut it out. And that's about what I'll be right now with my current configuration here. So I'm about 10 thou, I think, more width than what the cylinder is. And I'm going to go ahead and bore the case out for the bigger cylinder, but I'm not going to move, I'm not cutting into this area over here in the case. At least I'm trying to avoid cutting into it, at least very far. I don't mind cutting into it a little bit, but not too much. I'm going to make up the difference on this side by having a longer shaft. So right now we're about 320 thou spacer in here to run this combination I have right now. I think I'm going to wind up dropping this down to probably about a 3/16 spacer in here. And that should allow me to center this crank up a lot better where I am right now. Because right now this center is offset quite a bit more than I really want it to be. So if you look just by eyeballing it, here's a good eyeball point. Here's a good eyeball point. The difference between the center of the rod and the center where the case would be, yeah, it's probably about 150 over would do it. So like I said, I'll knock this down to a little bit. Like I said, I'll just take a plate, I'll cut a plate out, stick it in here, and then I'll bolt together the plate in there, and that will give me the number I need. So right now I'm thinking probably about 3/16 of an inch would do the trick for what I need. I'm going to pull a 3/16 worth of the washer out of that. That'll pull me back over. This bearing to go back inside the case. 3/16 will probably do what we want on this side. Because you can see how we're sticking through way too far. We're a good 1/8 of an inch past the lip in there. Right there. Probably about 150 there, definitely. So I think we're about 3/16 too far over right now with this dimension here. So I'll take 3/16 more of these washers. That's probably not quite 2 of those. I'll have to do some measurements. So anyway, that's what we're going to do. We're playing here a little bit. So at least I'm getting close to what I know what I want. So I'm going to still want to have at least something in here pretty thick. If I put a 1/4 inch in here, that'll give me about 25 cut off of each one of these 2 pieces, which would be about this much. Basically cut about half of this chamfer out, which would be probably pretty good. And 1/4 inch material is easy to come by, so it wouldn't be hard to come up with a piece of 1/4 inch. Probably got some of that stuff laying around someplace. So anyway, so that's what I'm looking at doing. And we'll just make up the difference on the shaft over here with the sprocket to run to the back. So I'll probably want to run some kind of a stupid belt drive, even though I don't like them because of oil. But so anyway, that's the game plan on that. So I'm going to go ahead and see what I can do here. For now, I got to move this crank back over about 3/16. So I'm going to go do that, and we'll be back in a few minutes.